All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here to Just Ballin', and I got some draft content for you guys where ESPN just dropped their big board, their top 100 prospects for the 2025 NBA draft. This was an ESPN Plus article, so maybe if you don't if you don't have ESPN Plus, I got you. And I'll try my best to read this along if you guys are listening on the audio platforms. Link to those are in the description. If you're driving and you want to listen to this content, you can listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like I said, links are in the YouTube description. I'm going to compare it to my big board. I recently came out with my top 30 prospects. I had like 5 or 6 honorable mentions, and a lot of guys are rising and falling as of late as well, like Boogie Fland, point guard prospect at Arkansas, out for the year completely. Will he declare for the draft? We'll see. But yeah, ESPN just dropped their big board, top 100 guys. I'm going to just kind of give a viewpoint on it. Are they too high? Are they too low, in my opinion? This is by Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Woo, their top 2 draft guys as well. But I'm just really excited about this draft. Like, it's going to be it's just still, like, right now, a super fun class to evaluate. I'm enjoying it a lot better than last year because we have some blue chip prospects in this class with Flagg, Harper, maybe Bailey and Yakuchonis, how you view those guys compared to what we had last year, where I thought like Alex Sarr probably had the highest ceiling out of all those prospects, but that may not come for a while. Like, there's a chance Cooper Flagg's an all-star in year number 2 or year number 3. Sarr may not get his first all-star game if he even gets one in year 5, 6, or 7. So yeah, let's get right into this, and I'm excited. So to no surprise, we have Cooper Flagg number 1, as do I on my big board as well, as he is 18 years old, recently turned 18. So he's going to be 18 to start off his NBA career. He's going to be 19 at the end of his first season. And if you like look up like his numbers on ESPN, I don't know if I could pull it up, like if this is going to link me, like his Duke stats. Yeah, I don't know if I could see it here, but either way, you look up like his Duke stats. I think it's on ESPN. He's first in everything, first in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, like first in everything. He is truly one of the best defensive players in the country in college basketball, and he's a freshman. You don't really see that. And he's also an incredible offensive talent right now. He's by far not by far, but he's clearly the number 1 prospect in this draft. I don't think if a team maybe wants a guard and they have just a bunch of forwards, like say it's New Orleans, right? They have a bunch of forwards with Herb, Murphy, Ingram, Zion, Hawkins. No, they're still taking Cooper Flagg number 1 overall. They're not taking Dylan Harper to throw him in the backcourt with DeJounte Murray. I think no matter who is picking 1, it will be Cooper Flagg, just because of the defensive potential, as he could be on an all-defensive team in his rookie season, which is crazy. Like Wemby was. And offensively, can he be the number 1? I think eventually on a team, but that wouldn't come for some time. Like, he is not the offensive prospect that Wemby was. I think he could be more aligned with maybe Paolo. He's doing more things right now than we saw Paolo do at Duke, but maybe Paolo and Cade Cunningham, like those guys. Took them a couple years to become like a true number 1 on their teams. Obviously, like Cade a little bit longer than Paolo, but I think Flagg could eventually reach that feat. Next up at number 2, we have Dylan Harper, as do I, my number 2 prospect on the board. One of the best ball handles in this class. Like, he's got a phenomenal handle in the half court, and he's got such a good, like, just bag, I guess, better like a word there. But just, he's so much fun to watch. And I know, like, it's a shame, though, because, like, Rutgers is not a ton of fun to watch. Like, Ace Bailey's had his moments as of late, like, really good game against Nebraska and against Penn State. Dylan Harper, maybe not hasn't had the best games as of late, but is still my number 2 prospect in this draft. But just like the ball handling, ability to finish at the rim, body control, and just he's cool, calm, and collective in the half court. You just love to see it. 6'6", a decent looking shot that I think is going to develop over time. The ball handling ability to navigate pick and rolls and be the primary ball handler in the pick and roll and orchestrate an offense. He has a lot of positional versatility in the NBA. I think he could be the 1, the 2, and the size to be the 3 if the defense develops. And yeah, I just think the footwork is great inside, and he is my number 1 guard in this class and my number 2 prospect. So I agree with them totally here. We have 100 prospects to get to. I'm probably not going to spend that much time on every single prospect, but Dylan Harper, it's like a shame because they also have Ace Bailey 3, as do I. Rutgers, their teammates aren't the greatest. Like, to be honest with you, I struggle to remember some of their names, but that's the way I watch college basketball mainly. Like, I've been keeping up more with like overall team aspects of college basketball this year. I'm playing fantasy college basketball, which is fun, but I've always, like, for the last 3 drafts where I started taking it a little bit more seriously, making content around the draft, I really only watch these teams to focus on the guys that are going to go in the draft. So I'm not watching Rutgers to watch Rutgers. I'm watching Rutgers to watch Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper as prospects. And Ace Bailey had a monster performance against Indiana. Maybe it wasn't Nebraska, but it was Penn State as well, where he, I think, was like 13 of 15 shooting, ton of free throws, knocked down some threes, and is like a true bucket getter. And for somebody that handles the ball like he can at 6'10" is incredible. He's not as good of a ball handler. He's very far from that, from what Dylan Harper is as a whole. But when you look at his position, he's the same height as Derek Queen. And you watch them, they're two completely different games. He has incredible shot making ability, and he's able to hit such difficult jumpers, and it's KD level where he's able to shoot it over anybody. I'm excited to watch him like eventually get to the NBA. How is he going to shoot over Wemby or some of these really lanky guys out there? And I don't think he's going to have an issue. Yes, he struggles at getting to the rim. Yes, there's some defensive lapses. Yeah, he can get tunnel vision, but I also think he's there at Rutgers to develop his style of play and just develop him as an NBA prospect, because like I said, Rutgers teammates aren't great. He should have more assists than he's getting credit for, because he makes some nice passes here and there, but his teammates aren't able to finish at times. And he's not like the greatest playmaker in the world, but we kind of knew that coming out of high school and into college basketball this year. I do wonder like how Ace and Harper would have been if they both played at like BYU, or a little bit different, or a little bit better of a team around those two guys this year. So they have Edgecombe at number 4. This is my first disagreement. I have Kasparov, who's shown us at 4. But I see the vision in Edgecombe. I have Edgecombe 5, so I can perfectly get behind this, because his three-point shot's been up and down this year, but honestly, like, there is some potential in his three-point shot. And you're really looking at him as an athlete, as a defender, both on ball and off ball, because there's true all defensive potential in Edgecombe's game. I truly believe that. He can run in transition. Like I said, he's crazy athletic. He can move off the ball, cut, slash, finish like strong with contact inside. And that is very appealing to NBA teams. Yes, you got to be able to shoot to be an effective, especially guard or wing at the NBA level. But I think, or I hope whoever drafts Edgecombe is just patient with this shot. Because, yeah, there's some really good players now that struggled with their shot earlier in their careers. We just saw Franz Wagner really struggle in year number 3, and everybody was like honing in on that and focusing on Franz's shot, and not everything else about Franz's game that makes him so good. But I think Edgecombe has top 5 player in this draft potential. I have him ranked number 5. They have him number 4. And he's got the size, like I think the footwork, the body control, everything like that his game can be well-rounded if he can become more of a shooter. I don't know if it's like put on less muscle, just honestly tweak his release a little bit. Hopefully it's not like one of those Mikal Bridges, like Tatum hitches we've seen in the past. Kasparov Jonas at 5, so I just have him and Edgecombe flipped. But Kasparov is, I think, one of my favorite players to watch this season, just from an entertainment factor, because he's able to see plays like 2 plays ahead, basically, and he's able to read defenses so well. Yeah, he turns the ball over a little bit. You may want him to put on a little bit more weight as well, but I think he's got better point guard, like true point guard potential than anybody else in this draft. Higher than Dylan Harper, higher than Nolan Traore, higher than Jeremiah Fears, or any of those guys that we're going to get to eventually, or Yegor Demon. There was a game recently. Why am I forgetting who they played? Oh my God. I'm forgetting who they put off the top of my head, but he fouled out so quickly. Or he had like 5 fouls, because that's what it is in college. But he only played like 9 minutes because he was in foul trouble most of the game. And some of them were bad, some of them were fine. But that's something he's going to have to work on as well. Like, you are so important to your team. You can't, like, you got to realize what the refs are calling. And you have to kind of adapt to what they've been calling all game. And you can't foul out as an important guy. And like, I think there's a lot of teams that can use a Kasparov. I think maybe you get a little positional, like, I don't know, could be a little bit of a cluster if you have him in Charlotte, maybe. But I think, oh my God, like him in Washington, working the pick and roll with Sarr, I think could really set you up for success in the long term, because I think they can get along very well. Watching him play with the VCH over in Illinois this year and what he could be with Sarr at the NBA level, I think Kasparov could fit a lot of teams like the 3rd best in this class. Like, I think Ace Bailey is a lot of, like, he needs to go to the right fit. I think Kasparov can go anywhere and it's going to be a good fit for the most part. Con Knippel at 6. So this is my first, like, kind of disagreement. I have Trey Johnson at 6, and I have Con at 12. But Con is, I think I'm going to have Con higher than Yegor and Boogie Fland soon, and maybe even Kaman. But I like Con. Like, I like Con more than McNeely. We may get to a disagreement with the number 7 pick they have on the big board. But I like Con more than McNeely. I think he's an incredible shooter. I think the shot is going to translate so well. Like last year when you talked about some of the better shooters in the draft, like Rob, like Shepard, Johnny Furphy, and Jared McCain, I think Con is just as good as those guys. I know the 3-point percentage isn't like perfect this year, but he's an incredible free throw shooter. The shot looks so good, and it's going to come over time as well, where I think it's going to be an elite level, and I think he's strong enough, physical enough, where he could be a good defender in the league, and I think has a good ball handle as well. I'd like for him to be maybe a little bit more physical in attacking the glass. I think that's something I would like to see stand out, and I know there's a lot of talent on this Duke team, especially defensively, so he may not stand out a ton on that end of the floor. So I would like to see some, like, maybe explosive plays in the second half of this college season. So they have Nolan Traore at 7. They had him high, I think, in the recent mock. I looked at. I have Nolan Traore at 20. Yeah, so big gap there. I don't know. They're really playing the potential thing here. He's got a 45% true shooting, they mentioned here. He's a good ball handler for sure. He can read defenses. He can get his teammates involved. He can navigate ball screens out of the pick and roll. He can attack closeouts, and he's playing guys a lot older than him. So they know more about international play than me. I'm going to say that, like, I am not as deeply, like, intertwined with international play as they are. Like, I found out about Noah Penda a lot later than a lot of people did. And some other international guys I'm sure we're going to get to in this big board that I haven't even seen yet, because, I mean, there's so much game to watch, and I usually attack the international guys, like, fully in depth when the college season is over. So basically, early April when the national championship is. But I think there's a lot of aspects of Traore's game that he needs to work on as an offensive player, because if he can't shoot, it's tough. Like, we've seen point guards that can't shoot and you get out of the league quick. Is he going to be as bad as Dennis Smith Jr.? No, I don't think so. But I think it's something he's got to work on. But it helps he's playing this level of competition. I mean, he's got good size. He puts on some weight. He can be a good defender. Is it going to be Killian Hayes 2.0? We'll see. They're going to draw the French connections. But I see the upside, and that's what they're seeing, I guess, at number 7. They've come on at 8. I come on at 7. Come on has been one of the most efficient players in college history this year for the Duke Blue Devils. 7'2", massive player, 18 years old, though, extremely raw as a prospect. But I think in 6-7 years from now, he could truly be one of the best rim protectors in the NBA level. I think his feel for the game is already great. Now, it does help he's playing with Cooper Flagg in that front court. Like I mentioned before, one of the best defenders in the country. That's such a good off-ball help defender. Kaman may not get that, whatever team he gets drafted to. But I think he moves well for somebody of his size, of his raw feel for the game. He can set really good screens, and he can roll well and catch alley-oops. Will he have a shot? Probably not over time. But he is a massive talent, and I think could be a true rim protector, like a good one at the NBA level. Dave Yeager Demon at 9. I have him at 10. And I think I was dropping him to the end of my lottery, so he's dropped a little bit for them. I think you watch him, it's a little bit stiff with the ball handling. The shot has not been good. They mentioned 39% true shooting in the last 8 games. It has not been good since Big 12 play started, and they had like one of the easiest non-conference schedules to start off the year. And I think if Demon, who's got like the big thing about like Yeager is 6'9", 18 years old, can facilitate, can hopefully improve defensively, where he's not like Josh Giddey 2.0, because I know he's going to draw those comps, and I think he's a really exciting prospect, and I hope he plays better, because I think that could be a really cool talent at the next level. Jeremiah Fears, okay, going number 10. I had Fears at number 8, a fun prospect for sure out of Oklahoma. I think you look at like, I think I'm starting to come around on Fears more than Boogie, just the size. I think like Fears is going to be a little bit of a developmental project, but I like him more than LeBaron over at Alabama. 18 years old, 6'4". I think the defense can come and go at 6'4", but the potential is there with the size. The turnovers are high, but you look at this Oklahoma team, he's asked to do so much, but he can really score in a bunch of different ways. The shot, I think, is coming and going as well. Like I said in, I think, my top 30 prospect, rocks a dope headband, and I think you're going to try to draft him as a developmental guy. I'd like to see him in Brooklyn. Wouldn't mind Utah, but also I probably prefer a lot of other destinations. You could throw him through the Oklahoma City like development factory as well. Houston, maybe over time if Van Vliet's gone and they have Shepard and Fears, I don't mind that either. But I don't think he's going to be like super NBA ready out of the gate. Trey Johnson at 11, I have him at 6. I can't really see Trey Johnson not as a top 10 prospect. I know there's a lot of, man, it's like the analytic game to him, and you got to worry about the defense. You got to worry about the off-ball ability, the playmaking, but he's a fantastic scorer. And I think when this is all said and done, I want somebody that was an elite shooter in high school, that's an elite shooter in college, and I know there's going to be some issues getting to the rim. There's going to be some issues defensively, but if we're around this range, I want to take somebody like, I don't know, I think Jared McCain might be a better prospect in a way, but it helps that McCain played so well, like looking back on it. But like Trey Johnson, so much more enticing of a prospect, or I would say intriguing than Cody Williams, than Matas Buzelis, than even Ron Holland at times. And I think at Texas, he's also asked to do a ton as well, and I think he's going to be really good at the NBA level. So I think this is a little low on Trey Johnson, just because of how good the mid-range shot is. It's basically Ace Bailey-esque. He doesn't have the size, might not have the defensive potential, but he looks really good. Liam McNeely at 12. I have Liam at, I'm looking at my big board to my right, 13. So right around the same range. He's been, I think, dealing with an injury as of late. Slow start, but yeah, McNeely's defense has impressed me over the last few weeks before the injury. And I think, yeah, like, so he suffered the high ankle sprain on January 1st, been out for a little bit, early Big East play against DePaul. Shout out to Dan Hurley saying he's the best coach in the sport to the ref and not to turn his back on him. I was so in on Dan Hurley. I might be out on him. I don't know. But McNeely, good size. I think it's like a great connecting piece. And I think it's somebody that should be a lottery prospect right now. Ben Seraph, 13. I had Seraph, 17. Combo guard, like combo forward, hybrid guy that has good size, struggled with a shot, but could be a primary ball handler, playing at the same, on the same team Killian Hayes played at, and we'll get to Noah Essengate in a little bit as well. But I think could be a crafty scorer. He gets the Manu Ginobili comps. I mean, that's like his 100 percentile outcome, but I think just the potential he has, I'm fine with him around that range. I think I may get him up to 15 on my updated big board. Derek Queen at 14, Adam at 11. I may drop Queen as well, because what are you getting in Derek Queen, right? At the like modern day NBA. He's not going to space the floor. Are you going to give him all these post touches a night? I think he could slim down a little bit, could help out with his quickness, but he's the same size as Ace Bailey, and they move completely different in so many different ways. And do you want this back to the basket traditional rim running center there in the top 15? I don't think so. Like, you can get Yves Missi. I mean, Khalil Ware ended up going 16, but he had way more, I think, potential and upside than Derek Queen had. Like, you're kind of looking, I'm just trying to think of the big man that ended up going late. Like, he's better than Oso Ighodaro. I'm kind of blanking on the big man that went in the 20s. Like, Deron Holmes, I'd probably take Queen over. But I don't really know if I like Queen's, like, mobility more than Deron Holmes. So, we'll see if he has, like, a three-point shot that can kind of make him more intriguing as a prospect. But I would say he's top 15. I feel like I said more bad than good. Danny Wolf, coming in at 15. That is pretty high. I have Danny Wolf at 29, I think, in my last big board. So, this does feel a little bit high. I don't know if this is a little recency bias, but he's a crafty offensive talent. He moves very well for 7 feet tall, can handle the ball well, good playmaker, and his three-point shot has been getting better and better over the 3 years of his college career. First 2 years at Yale, this year at Michigan, and you're really seeing this, I think, well-balanced big man come together that can play this modern style of game that could be run and gun, can play the 4, can play the 5, can space the 4. You wonder how he's going to be going up against more physical guys at the NBA level, but I think Danny Wolf has definitely earned himself like a first-round grade from me. Hugo Gonzalez at 16. I had Hugo as an honorable mention. I think this is high, man. I think you really don't know what you're going to get offensively from Hugo. I mean, he's got the wingspan. He's got the length. I think the defensive versatility to like guard multiple positions and could be somebody that could be an off-ball defender, kind of like Risa Shea in a way. But we have seen far less offensive talent from Hugo than Risa Shea. And Risa Shea was taller, longer wingspan. Maybe Hugo is going to be a little bit more physical. Like playing at Real Madrid, it's tough to get playing time over there, especially for somebody that's 18 years old. But I don't think I'm ready to call Hugo a top 16 prospect right now. But like I said before, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for the international guys. They've probably flown to Spain and seen him play in person. I have not. So they may know a little bit more than me there. Drake Powell at 17. I have Powell at 30. I'm kind of surprised they have Drake Powell ahead of Ian Jackson. I think Powell projects to be a better defender. I think Powell could benefit staying another year at UNC. They've just been an absolute mess this year. Yeah, they just lost to Wake Forest. Ian Jackson didn't play well in that game. But yeah, I think he's a better defender than Ian Jackson. I think 3-and-D is basically what his role is going to be in the NBA. I hope he realizes that because I think he could fit it well. And I had him at 30 in my like early January update. He may be like closer to 25 now. Like the gap may be getting closer between him and Ian Jackson. But I just like Ian Jackson's offensive upside more than Drake Powell. And if we're trying to hit home runs in this draft with those player types, I think I'd rather the offensive upside in Ian Jackson over the defensive upside in Drake Powell. So they have Noah Essengate 18, who played really well the other day. For Ratio Farm, and honestly has been better offensively than Ben Seraph, but he doesn't have the ball handling ability, the initiating, the playmaking that Seraph has. And Essengate is like this lengthy 6'10 guy, big wingspan that could maybe project to be a center at the NBA level. And if you can have him, like he needs to put on weight for sure because he is not strong enough to be a center right now. Very thin at 6'10, but he's somebody that can move very well for 6'10, like Ace Bailey well, and not like Derek Queen. And if he can develop somewhat of a three-point shot, he could be very versatile as a stretch 4, like a 3-and-D hybrid stretch 4. I like Rasheer Fleming a lot more than Essengate. Like Essengate, I think I had him around this range though. I had Essengate at 21. He's coming in here at 18. But I guess you project that Essengate at his peak is going to be better than Rasheer Fleming at his peak. I had Rasheer, I think 15. Yeah. Colin Murray Boyles at 19. I had him at 19 as well. Hopefully great minds think alike. I think Murray Boyles is like, it's tough. He's 6'8", but he's an incredible defender. He could switch well on that end of the floor. It's just, can he guard centers at the NBA level? Can he play the power forward at the NBA level if he's not going to be able to knock down shots? I think those are questions you could definitely ask yourself about Colin Murray Boyles. And We'll see how he goes, because he'd go a lot higher, I think. And I think teams are going to value the defense. I think teams that have multiple first-round picks, like Brooklyn, I guess not Utah anymore, but like OKC, they're going to take a chance on Kyler Murray Boyles, I think, high in this draft, higher than we think, because you know you're getting a good defender, and you think he could be good enough as like an off-ball offensive player to warrant a first-round pick. LeBaron 5 at 20, Adam at 22. I think I'm dropping a little bit of stock in LeBaron. I think he's somebody that could probably benefit staying another year. Like when Mark Sears leaves Alabama, maybe take over as a high-end role next year. I think he struggles as a shooter, maybe finishing as a first round or finishing at the rim as well. I think he could benefit staying another year college basketball. Asa Newell here at 21. So I had Newell at, pulling it up here, I think I had him a little higher, 16. I know Sam Vecini of The Athletic really likes Asa Newell, sorry, out of Georgia. Can he be a floor spacer? Because if he can, this guy can rim run. He can catch alley-oops. He is extremely athletic, and I think that can help out with his defense at the NBA level. Like 6'11 frame, can handle the ball kind of well. I think could put on some weight and be like a little bit more physical at the NBA level for sure. I like how I kind of flex when I say more physical and put on weight. I don't know why I do that. But if he can develop somewhat of a mid-range, like consistent jumper, I think he can become a top 15 guy in this class, because I have him right outside at 16. Ian Jackson at 22. I have Ian Jackson at 14. I just like the offensive upside. I mean, he's 6'4", so it's like a tough position as well, because he's not as good of a playmaker to be like a true combo guard. He will never be, I think, a point guard, but I think, like I mentioned before in previous draft content, like UNC doesn't really give him a lot of opportunity to be a primary playmaker. Now, they did against Wake Forest, and that Wake Forest game was not one of his best games this year, but hey, he's not a perfect prospect by any means. He's had a really good stretch to start off ACC play. We'll see if that's like Wake Forest is like a blip in that, or it's going to be back to what he did to start off ACC play, but he can run in full court, and he can throw it down on you. One of the best athletes in this class. Aduk Thiaro going there at 23. If any Arkansas fans are watching, let me know if it's Thiaro or TRO, because I swear I've watched, I think, like 10 games on Aduk, and the announcers say it differently. Thiaro or TRO. So just let me know so I don't have to mess it up anymore, please. But he's a good athlete as well. Shaky shooter, but can like anticipate passing lanes very well, has a good first step, and I think could be a fun kind of like stretch four in a way if the shot can come around, but more so like just like wing that's going to give you defensive upside, that can run in transition, can cut, catch an alley-oop, and it's just a good athlete to have there. Plays high energy, high motor as well. Arkansas has kind of been disappointing this year. Like Joanne Beringer, I think I talked about him in ESPN's last mock. I'm sorry, I'm definitely butchering his name, from the Adriatic League. French prospect, it seems. But yeah, I don't know much about him, so I didn't even have him on my big board. Carter Bryant, 25. I don't know, as an honorable mention. I think could benefit staying another year of college as well. Like Caleb Love leaves. KJ Lewis, I'm not sure his eligibility off the top of my head, but either way, Brian, I think could benefit staying another year. But I think the potential you have is someone that has a good looking 3-point shot, 6'8", physical, strong, could be a good ball handling wing that may actually end up a little bit better if Arizona goes on a run, if he could play a little bit more. But this is a good Arizona team that wants to win a title. Like I said, I think a little bit more sample size as like a true offensive option would be better for Carter Bryant. And with the NIL, may not hurt to stay another year. So, okay, that was in depth for the top 25 guys. We can kind of go through this a little bit quickly as we have 4 more guys to talk about. Caravan at 26, Idem at 24, safe shooter in this class. Michael Ruzic at 27. I did not have him in my top 30 or honorable mentions. You're just hoping that shot's going to eventually develop, but one of the more raw prospects in this draft at 18. Will Riley at 28, had him at 25. He had a really good game recently. Oh my God, who was I watching it against? It was the game that I think Kasparis fouled out. Was it Michigan State? It might have been. It was on Saturday, I believe. But either way, I think Riley, like Carter Bryant, could benefit staying another year at college. Dink Pate, Mexico City G League team. I didn't have Dink Pate on my honorable mentions, but he just missed it. I think he's a good defensive prospect. Rasheer Fleming at 30, big disagreement there. Man can shoot, man can throw it on your head, man can run in transition, good footwork in the post. I think is a perfect stretch forward. He's 20 years old. Like, he's not like he's 22, 23. Sergio De Laria from Spain, haven't had the chance to watch him, but I know they were high on him in the last mock. Boogie Flint at 32. I had Boogie Flint at 9. Like I said, I was dropping Boogie where I think I would have him around, like, now that the injury, like, he struggled at finishing at the rim, and that's a big thing with smaller guards. I compared him a little bit to Rob Dillingham, but Dillingham better of a prospect. I would say Flint is probably going to be around 20 for me. We'll see if he declares. Alex Tui from Spain, or from Sydney, excuse me. They're at 33. I think fun, like, intriguing offensive prospect in this class. Cam Jones at 34. I know I had Cam in my I Cam at 18. I think he's a safe prospect. I think he could do it all on both ends of the floor, and I would take him if I'm like a competing team. A little bit older, but I don't think he's gonna. I think it's just going to raise your floor, and sometimes you need that. Jason Richardson at 35. I have him at 23. Son of Jason Richardson. We'll see if he stays another year at Michigan State. He hasn't really hit that freshman wall, and he's been efficient so far this year, and I think he's like a first-round talent. Alex Condon, been watching more of him from Florida at 36. I think he's in like that tier with Maxime at Stanford and Thomas Sorber at Georgetown. I think I'm going to have them closer together in my end of the season update, depending on how the rest of the season like kind of figures itself out. But I like Sorber the most just because of the rim protecting ability, and he's the youngest out of those three. Kendon Catchings from BYU at 39, second BYU guy here. Did not have him on my honorable mentions. I did have Thomas Sorber, who they have at 37. I had him at 28. They have Krivas from Arizona, who I'm kind of out on a first round prospect, but a lot of center depth here. Kalkbrenner at 41. I did not have Kalkbrenner as an honorable mention, but I would have had him in my top 40. Just 23 years old. Not going to get a lot offensively, but I think could be rangy enough as a big man defensively. Grunwald here from Germany. Not familiar. Playing a Vecta probably. Not a guy I'm familiar with. Chaz Lehner. I think becoming, like, because the shot's fallen. And there's 3-and-D potential there. I'm just scarred from Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer. Because I really like them coming out of Tennessee. Darren Williams, 44. Seems kind of low. I feel like him and Noah Penda, David, 45 have been rising up boards as of late. Darion Reed, I think, should stay another year at college. 46 here to Bama. Tyrese Proctor, 47 out of Duke. I would say he's maybe, top 60. Joseph Tugler from Houston. Haven't really caught much of him. I'm only familiar with maybe like 50, 60 guys. We're going to get some names that I may not even be familiar with. Rocco, big fall off from this year. Like preseason lottery guy here at 49. Tomislav Vicic, definitely the better Vicic brother. Better than Zavonimir, who they have at 55. I think they're probably, I don't know. I think Tomislav is a little bit better. Isaiah Evans from Duke, probably could benefit staying another year. Markovic from Mega Serbia, not familiar with. Janai Broom at 53. Whoa. I Broom at 26. I like his energy. I like his motor. And he can space the floor a little bit, man. Good athlete. Eric Dixon at 54, I think should be a little bit higher. Zavonimir Vicic, I don't know if he's like a top 55 guy. Sion James from Duke at 56. Good defensive prospect. Dalen Swain at Xavier, not too familiar with. Cedric Coward, Washington State at 58. Mohamed Faye, 59. Kobe Brea, really good shooter out of Kentucky. Item is an honorable mention as well, so I think that's kind of low. JT Toppin, 61, also seems kind of low. One of the better scorers in college. Ethan Almanza playing at Perth. You may remember him from the G League Ignite. Could have been in last year's class. Milan playing at Iowa State. I think I don't know. I got to dig a little bit more in Iowa State. I never really wanted to watch Iowa State, but I know Milan is somebody I should be watching a little bit more. Peyton Sanford probably should have went out in the draft last year. His shot hasn't been falling as much this year for Iowa. Lewis from Southeast Melbourne, Australia at 65. Donnie Freeman, damn. I kind of liked Freeman early in the year for Syracuse, but I know it's not been the best. Hunter Salas, 67. I disagree with that. I think Salas is the top 60 prospect. And he's he didn't play well against UNC, but he's been playing better as of late. Ben, over here at Illinois, he's like number 3, right? When I was watching that Illinois-Oregon game, I loved the way he played, but I know Illinois fans, I think, are indifferent about him. We'll see if he declares. I got to watch more of him. I kind of forgot to do that. Nate Clifford at 69. Damn. I need Clifford at 27. That's a 42-player gap. Walter Clayton, Ben Henschel from Perth at 70. Walter Clayton, you may know him, Florida, 71. A little bit undersized as a guard, older as well. Igor Milicic from Tennessee. Yaxel Lendenberg, I think he's got the most, or I don't know. I forget the stat I read, but he's been incredible offensively for UAB over in the American this year. Mackenzie Mbako falling off a little bit. Item as an honorable mention. I mean, Indiana's been a mess this year. 74. Amari Williams, Kentucky. Shout out Drexel at 75. Jameer Watkins, Florida State at 76. Baba Miller, FAU 77. Jackson Robinson, Kentucky 78. Trey Kaufman, Ren, Purdue 79. Han-Sun Yang, I'm excited. He's been hyped up for a while. I think he just signed with some agency. I'm excited to see. Yeah, they have him at 80 though. Bruce Thornton, fun Ohio State player. Probably the best Buckeye this year. Grant Nelson, Alabama 82. Jalen Moore, 83. Tucker DeVree, shout out Drake, 84. I'd probably have him higher than that. Augustus from St. Mary's, 85. Michael Ajayi, he's been way too disappointing this year, I think, for Gonzaga. 86, though, so not even a second-round guy. Ulbrich from Ilaria, Australia. That's where AJ Johnson played last year. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that. Kobe Johnson, UCLA, 88. Kai Boswell, Illinois, 89. That's, I think, the 4th Illinois guy, or 5th. Jolan Lowe, kind of fall off this year. Pitt's been kind of a disaster. Andrew Carr, Kentucky, 91. Otega Owe, 92. Vlad Golden, big man, Michigan, playing in that front court with Danny Wolf, 93. Xavier Lee, surprised to see 94 from Princeton. Mark Sears, 95. Nate Biddle, Oregon, 96. Of Dallas from Greece, 97. PJ Haggerty. I kind of like watching PJ Haggerty, but he's just too small out there, and I think like inconsistent as a free throw shooter. Clifford Amori, 99, Alabama, and Ryan Nemhard, 100. I think Ryan Nemhard is a lot better as a prospect than some of these guys. So yeah, I guess you guys can let me know what you guys think about that. Like, let me know maybe some of your favorite prospects or prospects of your favorite teams. Like, kind of give me some insight down below. Like, maybe you've watched a ton of, I don't know, Michigan State this year, and you want to give me like a bullet point on Chase Richardson, or you're a Florida fan. Let me know about Walter Clayton and Alex Condon. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Talk some college hoops, talk some NBA draft content. Drop a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy on YouTube. Let me know what you think of this big board down below. Do you think a guy was too high? Guy was too low? I believe everybody in my top 35 was mentioned here. I'm just kind of going over it again. That'd be funny if somebody wasn't. But no, I think we had a big disagreement on like Nick Clifford. I think trying to like Nolan Traore, a little bit of a big difference there. Ian Jackson, I would say. Derek Queen, Conkin Nipple, Boogie Fland as well. So yeah, drop a thumbs up if you guys enjoy. Hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave a rating or review if you did enjoy. I'd appreciate that a lot. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.